Hello traders, Sid here, and in this video I'm going to discuss few stock that I picked to play for this week. Now February is about to end. We just have left with one trading day in February before ending this month and moving on to March. Last week before Russia invades Ukraine, market was selling off because of uncertainty. Market doesn't like uncertainty, so as soon as war broke out we dropped down and then we jumped back from there. Now that recovery was really astonishing because I thought on Wednesday when invasion start, I thought we will get more drawdown, but instead of that we got a bull rally and we continued that rally on Thursday as well as on Friday. Now considering that rally, in stock market it is very rare to have consistent 4 or 5 green days, and if that happens then usually we get some kind of like a pullback for 1 or 2 days. Now we are due for that pullback, and if you guys can see here, this is a chart of ES1 or S&P 500 E-mini futures, and I used fib retracement tool to check where exactly pullback might happen. According to my analysis, what will happen is at this moment we probably move back a little bit towards 4400, and from that point we come back down to this level or 4300, then we will bounce back a little bit before coming down to 4250. Those are the levels that I'm watching and have overall picture in front of you before taking any trades on any stocks. This is the stock for the ES1 and I broke down my analysis regarding that. Now let's move on to the stocks and let's start with the SPY. Now similar to ES mini or S&P 500 E-mini futures, we had this huge rally and that's kind of like a very heavy push from the bottom, like 409, 410 to 437. That's like a very strong push towards the upside, and I don't think so it's going to sustain that level. Upward trend line resistance, it comes somewhere around 440, 445. If we reach to this level, then we will basically be back into the box, and at that time we may expect some kind of like a pullback. Now this type of price action from 438 to 445, it's just like a $6-7 move, and that can happen in one day. So I would say we will have Monday a green day, some kind of like a continuation before getting some kind of like a pullback starting from Tuesday, and that pullback will continue till the end of the week, where we will see some kind of like a relief rally on Friday or starting late Thursday. If we look at the overall options activity, as you guys familiar from my last video, I put this put these screenshots from quant data, and quant data basically tracks all the options activity happening for that particular ticker. So I took screenshot for the SPY, and overall there are a lot of puts on SPY. So for SPY we see the options activity, the more volume is toward 420 strike, and most open interest is around 385. Now that move to 385 will be very significant. I don't think so that will happen, but 420 is very possible and very likely. Now if we take a fib retracement tool for this overall downward move, then we are at the sweet spot. We are very close to that 618 level, and at that point we might get some continuation and rejection from there, or we might push even higher before coming back down to this 0.786 level. So that's about SPY. Now let's move on to Apple. Apple is showing good strength considering the overall market conditions, and overall market is still bullish on Apple. After this huge drop down, we recovered from that, and as similar to SPY, we might see the retest of this level around like 165 level, 165 or towards 170 level. If we couldn't hold that level, then we probably going to come back within this box. Overall option activity is targeting strike price of 165 and 170, so we are right at that level. So 170 is not that far off. So that's for the Apple. Moving on to AMD, this is the line that I drew on last week, and as you guys can see here, like it followed everything exactly. I didn't change a single bit in this. I just draw this other trend lines to see where exactly AMD wants to go. As you guys can see here, we are near to this resistance of this upward trend line. Now there are two trend lines that are forming right over here. One is this one, which covering price action since 27 December, and the other one is from its all-time high. What option activities suggest over here is we will see the price action, like AMD move towards 120 mark. We are already there, so I don't know how far it can push. 125 or 130 will be a reasonable level for it to push. I am expecting it to move towards at least 125 level before giving us some kind of like a pullback. Now let's move on to Amazon. Amazon is at a critical level as far as its price action goes. It is very closely hovering towards that $3,000 level. We filled that gap. The upward resistance for Amazon is going to be around 3200, and I don't see it's going to push beyond that. I would not be surprised if I see some kind of like a pullback in Amazon, considering how much we pushed so far. Overall market is targeting toward 2700 and 3000, which is quite reasonable, to be honest, because we are at that level, and we may fall down to not to 2700 but 2900 or 2850 will be highly likely. Upward target will be close to 3100 or 3200 if we push that even further, but not beyond that. And the lowest target could be 2900 to 2800. Moving on to BABA. Overall market is bullish, somewhat bullish, but put premiums are quite higher than the call premiums, and we are already at the 107 level. I think like we will retest this level. So because we test this level or 110 level multiple times, like 1, 2, 3, 4th, we broke it 4th time, came down, and probably we will test it as a resistance. So at this level, $110 level, we need to watch like what exactly it wants to do. Also, if you see the fib retracement that I draw from this overall move, we are very close to that 0.382 level, or kind of like it's a sweet spot for its price to retest this level and come back down. So 110 and $111 level is very significant for the BABA. If it can hold, we will see another leg high towards $118. But if not, then probably we will come back down to retest this $100 level from 110. Moving on to coin. Coin is highly related to the Bitcoin price. Bitcoin price had a rally along with stock market on last few days, especially on Thursday and Friday. How long that rally sustained within a Bitcoin is a questionable. It's very questionable, and considering that, I would say like 180 to 190 price is still possible. If not, 180 will be the price level to watch. We might get some kind of like a pullback from that level. Let's move on to CRM or the Salesforce. Salesforce is quite similar. All the stocks are quite similar. They're trending in a channel. I would say like upward resistance is towards 215 level, or somewhat close to 213, 215, and then we will see some kind of like a pullback. Overall market is still bullish. So highest volume is around 210, highest open interest is around 230. Disney, I would say Disney has still enough energy left for it to push towards 150, 155 level, and overall highest volume and open interest is around that strike price 155. If we extend this trend line, we see we intersect this 153, 155 line. So yeah, I mean, it's entirely possible to have that move. Moving on to DWAC, I heard rumors about Digital World acquisition. That is, Donald Trump's company is going to publish some kind of like an app similar to Twitter for the public engagement. I'm not sure, like I didn't dig deep into that, but if that's the case, we have upward potential towards $100. We were close to that level like few days ago, where we had a rally in the pre-market session, but we couldn't hold that rally, and it sold off immensely, sold even further before war broke out, and then we had a rally back up. So now we are within this range, within this trend line. So we have to see like whether it can retest this $100 level or not. If buyers stepped in, we might see that $100 level, but if that didn't happen, then probably we'll see at least 90 to 95 level move before pulling back, because the overall strike is between 60 to 100. That market is interested. I just have to keep this price in check, exactly what is happening over here. Let's wait and see how this price action develops over the time, over next few days, especially from Monday to Tuesday, and based on that we can decide like what we have to do. Facebook dipped below 200 just before the war broke out. When the war broke out, we had a huge drop to 180, 188 level, and from that we had a huge rally. Now if we consider these trend lines, we are at the resistance. We might see some move towards 212 or probably around 220. The market is highly interested towards the strike price of 210 and 220, and but the overall market is still saying bullish. But if you see the premiums both on the put and call side, they are quite similar. If it has to push, it can push towards 212, 215, 220. Moving on to Google, with the current price that it moved from 2500 to 2600, I would say Google can retest this 2700 level or probably 2750 before having some kind of like a pullback. Otherwise we are at the resistance. We might pull back and retest this level of 2600. Market is interested in two strike prices, that is 2680 and 2700. Moving on to Lockheed Martin. This is very interesting stock, and I just am putting it over here because of its price. Now Lockheed Martin, considering war broke out, that's very beneficial for this type of companies. That's unfortunate, but that's the reality. It's ultimately it's money that talks, and we are overextended when it comes to Lockheed Martin. We had this very parabolic move towards 412, 413, and we are very close to its all-time high, that is around 440 level. I don't think so it can continue this move all the way through 440, but what I'm expecting it to do is to fall back down to this 380, 390, 380 level. We might retest this upward trend line resistance around like 400 level, bounce back again up from that levels towards this to retest this 440 level or all-time high. Just keep keep a close eye on this Lockheed Martin stock. Next one is all favorite, Microsoft. Microsoft also had a similar move like other big tech like Google, Apple, Amazon. I draw this trend line considering its latest price action, and at this point we are at 297, so 300 will be the key level for Microsoft to hold. If we hold that level, then we will push back towards 305, and if after beyond that we will see and retest 310 and 315 level. Overall market is very much focused towards the 300 level. If it couldn't hold that 300 level, then we might see some kind of like a pullback towards 290 level, and if we couldn't hold 290, then 285 and 280 levels are pretty much to go for. Moving on to Netflix. Netflix did not have that strong push on these last 2 days where overall market was rallying, but still we rallied quite significantly at that resistance level. One leg higher or 395 400 level will be an appropriate level where you can see it coming down to retest this trend line around like 370, 380, 370. Overall market is eyeing towards 400. Next one is NVDA. It's just trading sideways. As you guys can see here, this is the price action move that I drawed last week, and NVIDIA followed it pretty nicely. For NVIDIA, the upward resistance could be somewhere around 250 to 58 level, and overall open interest and open volume is very high around that level, around 250 level, and overall market is still bullish on NVIDIA. So just keep 250 as a key level in your mind, and 250 level, and beyond that we might see a retest of 260, and beyond that we can retest this level of 266 to 265 to 66. So those levels you need to have in mind when it comes to NVIDIA. PANW, this is another one which is quite similar to Lockheed Martin. Price swing from its low 468 to 569, 570 is very wild. Considering it had its earning, we are at the all-time high. I don't know where exactly it can go from this level because there is nothing to trace. If we have to push, then 570 will be the first one. If we can hold and push through that level, then 580 will be the next one. It just depends on whether it can hold that level or not. If it reached to that level and overall market condition, but overall market is targeting towards the 570 and 550 price range. If it get rejected from 570, 550 will be the first price target for it to come down to, or if it reached to the 580, then 570, 560 and 550 will be the three levels to watch for. Moving on to QQQ, which tracks Nasdaq, had a similar chart over here. It can retest back to this all-time high around 350. 350 is very possible. I would say it can move to 350 before making any kind of like pullback, but overall market is still bearish. A lot of put premium is higher than the call premium, so and put to call ratio is 145, so just keep that in mind. It can reverse. It's due for the reversal soon. So that's it for the QQQ. Square jumped back up on overall move in the market as well as a Bitcoin move. So we gapped up on Thursday and going into the Friday, and that gap is quite huge, from $98 to $110, probably $12 gap. And considering its price where it is right now, if market support, we might get another leg higher towards 125, 128, and over market is targeting for the strikes of 110 and 115, but that's highly likely because 110 and 115 will put us right back in this box where it will fill the gap. Moving on to last three stocks. One is Tesla. Tesla didn't move that much. I was expected it to move to beyond 800 within these 2 days. It didn't move that much. The overall market is targeting 900 to 850, which is quite reasonable target for the Tesla. 900 is quite impossible. 850 is highly possible. And when I draw this fib retracement tool, you can see that we are very close to this 0.618 level, which is a sweet spot for this move on the upside. So which will take us right towards 840, 845 level. So I can see that it can easily move towards 850 before pulling back down. Moving on to UPS. UPS attracts me because of this diamond formation, and also we had this huge move from its low 199 to 210. The overall price target is 215 and 212.50, which is quite nice for its move to make one leg higher before pulling down, because it had its earning dividend, so it is very likely that it can make a move towards the downside. But before that, it will definitely make a small push towards 212, 215. So have that in mind for the UPS. And the last one is Upstart. Even despite having the good earnings, Upstart kind of like a sold off pretty aggressively. And this is a site that I use to check for the overall fundamentals of any stock. So I'm just interested in Upstart's earnings per shares. EPS is good. Price ratios, it's 95.69, which is quite high. It has to be within the range of 25 to 30 for it to be considered as valued. Right now it's very overvalued, so I can see it move. It can come back down, but if you see the overall technical analysis of the Upstart, like it's retesting this resistance level multiple times, like 1, 2, 3 times. So it's very likely that it can make another move, another leg high towards 157, 160 before pulling back down to retest this previous support level. Okay, resistance or support level. So overall market is targeting toward 160 as the technical analysis suggests, 160, 150. So that's it for this video, guys. I broke down all the technicals for a bunch of stocks that looks interesting to take a trade on in this upcoming week. Now you have to consider the overall geopolitical situation and interest rate hike, inflation, and other things in mind. Just keep an eye on overall market activities. What's going on in what's going on in Fed overall market in terms of all these activities that is happening all over the world, and it can impact stock market heavily. We saw very wild swings in last 2 weeks, so we don't need to look back in history to get an example. We have it right at our fingertips, and we live through that. So just consider that one. Also, this analysis is just for an educational purpose only. Before taking any trade, as I said, do your own research, because trading is risky and it might be possible that you will lose all your money going into any form of trade. So that being said, thank you for watching this video, and see you guys next week. Bye.